On tonight's show, we have Les Cuthbert, who is a spiritualist medium. He's got one of the most enthralling stories to tell, really, in relation to spirituality and his growth into what he does now. He's my first guest on this show, so we're really looking forward to it. It was a very good story, what I heard in synopsis. And I really do think that you guys out there need to hear it. It's very enlightening, very educational, and it's going to help you going forward if you're on a spiritualist journey. I will also ask questions as I go through the interview to ease my own knowledge as well. So can I bring on to you the guy next to me here is Mr. Les Cuthbert. Hello, Les. How you doing?
Oh, yeah. Good evening.
Well,
hope everybody's okay.
Thank you for being my first guest on.
You're welcome.
I'm hoping to get some really good, people listening, and also get people on the show such as yourself, and cover a lot of subjects. But your story, when you sent it to me, really hit home, and I couldn't think of a better way really to start a new series discussing. Trying to bring some goodness to the world. There's not enough good out there, is there?
Absolutely.
There's a lot of negativity, a lot of darkness at the moment. These times are terrible.
Yeah.
So if you especially can come on here, come onto this format and make somebody smile, make somebody resonate to something in their life.
Yeah.
And I'm all for that. I'm a mental awareness advocate, and I really do believe that looking after your own mind and your own thoughts are pivotal to your health. So having somebody like you on board today are going to give somebody a smile. It might be just one person out of all the viewers, but that one smile, that one good thought that you've created is going to make their day. And we've done our job, mate. So
absolutely,
welcome to the show, mate.
Thank you very much, Russ. Yeah, and also is to help their, the belief. If they're in their most darkest times, if they've got things going on at home, they're just sad about something. Their belief in the spirit world, the afterlife, Jesus. If they don't believe, then hopefully it will give them, an open door to believe and take in what I'm saying. And bring some light into their life. That's
what it's all about. We've all got our own stories to tell. We've all got our own experiences. Me being predominantly a paranormal investigator and events guy, but I have seen things that are related to what you're going to talk about. I have seen bright energy. I have seen the light. And on investigations in some of the darkest, foreboding places, I have seen what you're going to describe: angelic creatures, angelic form. What they are, I don't know. Hopefully, you'll unshed that for us during the show.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Can we just start off by talking a bit about yourself, what what your career, your job, where you're from. Just a little overview, please.
Yeah. Of course, obviously, I was born in the West Midlands in West Bromwich, and I can remember, even as a kid. I used to have to sleep with the light on because, I just felt if the light was turned off, the room was full of people. Yeah. So I used to sleep with my head under the blankets, peeping out. It was terrifying, but now I'm older, I understand why. And it just seemed every house that we moved to had spirit. It had something, which now I understand it wasn't the houses. It was me. Developing.
Sorry to stop. Can you? Was you brought up in a religious household?
No. My mum believed in Jesus, but she never went to church. She just used to have a little statue up and a couple of crosses, and that was as far as it went. And of course that rubbed off a little bit on me. All I did was, I believe in him, but I didn't go to church. I didn't know any scriptures. I didn't, it was just not a massive part of my life. Okay. So of course, so growing up, I saw things, I heard things, and as a kid that was really scary. And of course, I then sort of obviously grew up, and into, I think when I got to about 2005, I sort of just wanted to move area. I just, you just had couple of bad things happen in life, and you think, I want to move and have a total change of scenery. So I moved. Oh God, I've missed a bit there, Russ. I'm sorry.
Okay, no problem. I can edit round it. Don't worry.
Yeah. So just going back. So at the time when I was in the West Midlands, I can remember I lived, with my ex-partner, and the particular house that we was in had a spirit in there. And I mean, I witnessed. I'd put a knife down, and it would disappear. I'd put things down and they'd disappear, or I heard a little girl's voice, shouting, "Mommy, mommy," and so we got a medium to come in, because at the time I didn't know I could do this. I just knew, everywhere I was, there was things, spirit, and this medium came in and she checked the house and she said, yes, you have two spirit here, a boy and a girl. And it was like, okay, so we went all through that, and at the end I said to her, could you come back and do a card read for me? I've never had one done before. And I used to watch it on telly, Colin Fry, and I used to think, wow, I think I wish I could do that. And anyway, she did. She came back and she read my cards, and midway through the card, she said, you do realise you can do this, and if you did it, you'd be really, really good.
See, I like that, because when a medium tells you that, they are 100% correct, because we can all do it. It's just it's our choice whether if we want to open it up.
Absolutely.
And as you say, you're going to hit on in a minute, is going to circle and expanding your consciousness, expanding your crown chakra, your chakra system. And you can do it. You definitely can do it. So that is a great point about it.
Absolutely. Everybody can do it. It's whether you open up. And the thing is with spirit as well, if you keep having experiences and keep saying, oh, it was this, I don't believe it, it was that, eventually spirits are going to give up trying, because it's like if, somebody's saying to you, well, what's the point in me keep trying to show you stuff? You don't believe it anyway.
Yeah, I totally agree, mate.
And so it's like you need to open up and believe, because this stuff is real, it's out there. And if you just open up and take the time to accept, the gates just flood open.
Yeah, I know. But then that opens an whole other hornet's nest, because they all want a piece of the action. So then that's where the next step comes in, because that will affect your own mental health if your floodgates are down and they're hitting on you 24 hours.
Oh, absolutely.
So therefore, you don't just go into it willy-nilly, get the training, seek the advice of people.
Absolutely, 100%.
Oh, sorry, off Les. Sorry. So, yes.
No, that's all right. So, of course, I never really had the chance to do anything about it, because life was busy. I was working, got family life. And life moves on. And in 2005, I moved to Essex, to Basildon. Yeah. And I resettled with someone, and we had 2 children eventually. And she decided, she wanted to split up. So we parted in 2017. And I thought, okay, I'm on my own.
Long time, isn't it? 12 years. So how did it affect you mentally in relation to that? Is that
it hurt because of having 2 kids, and when I moved out, suddenly waking up and your kids aren't there. They're with the mom, and you're in a, you've moved in with a mate, and of course that hurt a lot. The sudden loss. Even though I was seeing the kids, it was just the fact you don't wake up and see them getting ready for school, there's stuff like that.
So was that a catalyst in your life into sparking?
Absolutely.
It sounds like it was, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, because then I thought, at the time I worked in the ambulance service on front line, and so I was a clinician in the ambulance service, so, I'm somebody of a professional thing, just telling you this story.
So can I ask you then, being in the ambulance service, so I presume a paramedic?
But I was a practitioner, which is just one below.
Okay, but was you on scene of death?
Oh yes, yep.
So how did that affect you being a medium at end of life stage? Was that? Could you feel the death? The movement of the soul. Could you with me? Yeah. Something that was tangible to an afterlife.
Absolutely. I'm sort of jumping forward a little bit, but.
Sorry, I'm gonna keep.
No, that's okay, but I'll answer that question now. So, because we're here, obviously I was trained at this point in circles and stuff. But I can remember we went to one job, and this guy was terminal. He was going to die. I knew he was going to die as soon as I walked into the house. I just knew. And he did die, and there was a paramedic there and a technician, and of course I was standing at the foot of the bed, and I just felt his soul come out.
Okay.
And I felt it come out, and I said, considering I wasn't touching the patient, I said to these guys, I said, guys, he's gone. And they was like, what? And they checked him, and he'd gone. And the next thing I know, I looked to my left, and I see spirit in my mind high, but it's like they're projected into reality. So as I look, I can see him there in my mind's eye, and he's just standing there looking at his own body. And then all of a sudden, he looks at me and sees that I'm looking at him. And he said, you can see me, telepathically. Yeah. And I went, yeah, I can see you. And he said, oh, and he's looking. And then all of a sudden, I've never experienced this before, but the white light came by the window. I could see the white light. And I said to him, you can go into the light. I said, you can come back and, attend your funeral and so on. I said, but you can go to the light and you can come back whenever you like. And he just nodded. And he walked to the threshold of the white light, looked back at me again, and I just said, it's okay. Oh. And he just went through into light. And that, for me, just blew me away. These two paramedic and the technician hadn't got a clue what was going on. But, I sensed him come out the body.
Can you explain the white light to me then? Is it, what would you say? It's like a beacon, I don't know. Is it a flash? What
to me, I was seeing it was like a big oval opening of white light. Yeah. But there's no solid, clear-cut edge to it. It's like the white light is almost spreading around the edge of it. Does that make sense? Like beams of light. Yeah. And it's just there. It's just amazingly bright. And it was also almost like watching, stars in their eyes when they used to go through the fog.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
If you can imagine that, he just walked through into the light, and I just watched him disappear. Okay. And that was a life-changing moment for me because, I've considered I'd done the circles and I'd got to where I was now, and then to witness that. And also the thought that I've just helped this guy cross over.
That's fair play to you.
He could have been trapped. He could have remained there trapped because he doesn't know where he is, what's happened. He was looking at his own body with confusion, and that was an amazing moment to help him do that.
So was he without pain when he went? So
absolutely, yeah.
It's just pure. I can hear it's like pure awareness. There's like a 360-degree state of awareness. We just focused on this with our eyesight, this one bit of vision. But when you pass, allegedly you get 360 total multiverse on
yes, yeah,
without pain and emotion. Really, I hear so.
But the one thing I did notice, and that was the old man I saw on the bed, who's curled up. Very emaciated, and I'm looking at this guy who's like in his 30s. He's young again.
Oh wow!
And he's just looking at himself. You could see him just staring in like, is that me? Is that me?
Yeah. Oh
wow.
That's cool. I've got to ask this, Les, because people listening, watching, you've explained the nice side of it, but do you believe that if you was a bad person, etc., it would be somebody else that's coming for you, the shadow people, whatever you want to call it. I've heard stories of that as well.
My belief is that believing in Jesus, believing in God, because all they want to be is loved. That's all they want is love. We I believe there's a part of God in us. He created us, and that white light in us is part of God.
Yeah.
And it's just if these people don't believe, they cast aside or totally dismiss God, then it's like it says, why would they be accepted into the heaven afterlife? And they either remain trapped.
But you can accept God as a creator, but not have to believe in the prophets, surely, because
Absolutely.
if you're a spiritualist,
yeah,
surely I can believe that there is a God, a creator, the great clockmaker, as I like to call him, responsible for the great engineer, the great designer, whatever you want to. So there is a God, but in an infinite universe with infinite planets, infinite galaxies, just to rely on the prophets, as you say, Jesus was a prophet, etc. Like you could be a prophet for all I know, couldn't you? You're spreading the word, and
we'll come to this in the story. Yeah.
At the end of the day, but you can be religious. That's my point, and not have to follow Catholicism, Christianity.
Yeah.
But you can still believe in a God.
In here.
Yeah, in your heart. Yeah,
in your heart. If you accept him here, you don't need to go to church. You don't need to spend hours praying.
No.
You don't, just accept him here, love him from here.
Yeah.
Job done. That's all he wants.
I agree, but the reason I'm saying it is because I've seen so much fucking shit in this world and kids dying. They haven't done jack shit, and they've been taken. Yeah, fair enough. There could be an explanation. There's a better thing for them.
Yeah.
Another paradigm, another mission for them. But I cannot accept the word of prophets when things like that happen. But yet in my heart, I know that there is a creator of
absolutely
a great designer. I'm very into my science, but I'm also into my spirituality as well. And I'm one of the few people that can cross the two paradigms over. So I do believe in both, and I can believe in the scriptures. Certain scriptures. I've studied the Book of Enoch. Do you know the Book of Enoch?
I don't know. Sorry.
Okay, so read that. That's the one that Moses allegedly wrote, and again, that explains some of our fundamentals as humans, and where we came from, where we evolved. So the Nephilim, etc. So worth reading that for yourself. Definitely. But I'm with you. You just know, you can sense it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like Jesus and God accept. There's no religion.
Yeah.
There's no religion. It's the spiritual world. There's a Jesus. There's God. There's angels. Ascended masters. There's all that, but there's no religion. Okay. Because
I can believe in that.
If you look at some of these near-death experiences, there's been Muslims, all sorts of religions passing over, and they all meet Jesus.
Yeah. Okay.
All of them.
Jesus, again, I'm sorry to argue upon, Jesus is the prophet, the Son of God, where you could be. We all could be the Son of God. Well, we all are the Son of God.
We're part of God.
Yeah. We are part of God. We are star seeds, we're descended from the stars. So we are star seeds, but that's the part I find it hard, is in relation to Jesus was a prophet, the same as Muhammad was a prophet, etc. But I believe in God. So if you were turning around and saying you meet God or God's army or whatever, then I'd probably have it. But the Jesus thing, you've had your own personal experience, so you'll probably
absolutely.
Hopefully, you're going to back it up for me.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, I mean, did you want to sort of start on that now, or?
But that that's just killed 15 minutes.
Not at all. That's all. But
blue boy. But again, I'm enthralled, or I'm interested in that perspective. Because being a paranormal investigator, that's what I strive to get, that tangible evidence. So thank you.
That's okay. As long as you believe here, that's it. That's all it takes.
The hardest and nastiest of folk. Jimmy Savile, I don't want to mention his name on this show, but when he passed apparently all crossing his fingers on his chair because his time was up, and he was crossing his fingers saying, have I done enough good to get warrant the pass to heaven, or am I going the other way? And that's why he apparently allegedly passed with his fingers crossed on his chair.
Yeah.
So You know,
and you know, he would have been shown his life review, and made to feel the suffering that he's put on others.
Okay.
You know.
So, back to your story then. So you've had a few failed relationships. You've moved house down to London.
Yeah.
This catalyst of the last relationship, or that relationship back then, sparked you. Possibly, I'm feeling, you know, that it's part of your healing process as well. It helped you recover from the trauma of that. So
basically, what it did was put me.
How did you get into it from there then?
Yeah, basically, what that did is actually put me on the path I should be on. Yeah. And basically, what it was, I decided to find a spiritual circle that was local to me, and I can remember I was nervous. I went there, and the tutor, who was Lorraine Goodfellow, she's a well-known medium down here. You know, she welcomed me to the centre, and we were sort of, she's telling us how to bring the light in and contact spirit and get spirit in. And I can remember that went really well. I did a reading for a lady on my very first night, and you know, the information I gave her just blew her away.
Tarot, or did you just do it?
No, it's like a platform type thing.
Okay. So you picked up off Aurora. You picked up off.
I just called spirit in, and I was, you know, her granddad came in, and I described him. I told her about you know, a special hat that he had, and I said, oh, he's got a special hat. He only wore it for you know, anniversaries, birthdays, whatever it was. And she just broke down crying and said, that's the hat we put on his coffin.
Oh, bless.
So, you know, that for me was...
Does that information come to you then, Les? Do you get in the form of a guide telling you, or is it just purely instinct on the energy of you're transferring energies, you're decoding that energy and this message, or...
Yeah, and basically what it is, you call your spirit guide in, because everybody has a spirit guide.
Okay.
And you ask them to bring spirit through related to the person who's sat in front of you. And then in your mind's eye, it's like somebody's playing a video scene in your head. Yeah. So imagine like if you're asleep having a dream, but you're awake, but you're still having that dream. And you see the spirit come in, and you just... when I connect, I always sort of look up or I look away, because my mind inside is focusing on the spirit that's in my head. Okay. And you can see the way they're dressed, you can see the mannerisms, and then they just start telepathically either giving you images, or they give you words or sentences, or even just just one single word. Yeah. You know, like say for that example, if I know somebody's going to hospital, I will be shown the word hospital. Yeah. And I know I need to tell them that. And so spirit try and get that information through simple and effective as possible, because it takes energy to do that. So, but of course initially a guide brings them through, and then they communicate through you. Okay,
so I'm going to ask a question in relation to meditation. So
yeah.
Obviously, I presume on Circle you did a lot of meditation, the meditative states, and doing that and expanding your subconsciousness is only going to aid and help in this type of readings and this type of situation. Am I correct? So it's worth anybody interested to take that form, would you say, in a meditation?
Yeah, you find. I mean, this is me personally. I know some people struggle with meditation, but for me, if you're fully accepting and you're trusting spirit to come through, then when you do meditations, it's when I used to do meditations, it's like I was there. I was still in the physical seat. My eyes was closed, but my mind had transferred to spirit world. And I can remember I could look around. So, but I mean, I can move on to the very first part of that, because when I did the second circle, my tutor said, I want you to meet your spirit guide. And this was the start of my journey. And I said, okay, so I'll go into this meditative state. And, I can hear the music, and I'll start going deeper and deeper. and I'm going up this white light, and I can feel myself turning and just going at this fast speed, and then I know I've reached where I need to be, and the light clears, and I'm faced with these marble steps that go up. There must be 100 steps at least, and every marble step had 3-pronged leaves that come underneath all along the steps, beautifully scrolled, and I can see, but everything around the steps at the sides and at the top was swirling purples and blues. So I knew I was in spirit. I wasn't where, on this physical plane.
So the purples and blues is normally, it's heavily spiritual. It's archangels, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
Michael and Saint Germain, which
the
protection, peace, love. So
absolutely
spiritual realm. Yeah.
And I was looking around and I was taking it all in, and then I start walking up the steps, and as I get to the top, and when I can see a person standing on the top, and I'm like, oh, who's that? Wait, that must be my spirit guide. And I'm getting closer and closer, and then as I come to the top steps, you see their feet coming down, and I see a pair of sandals, and bare legs, and I was like, okay, this is weird. And then I see the white robe, and as I'm starting to look up, and I'm 2 or 3 steps from the top, I look up, and he's got a complete white robe on, like Jesus used to wear, and the sash cord is to the right, two browny gold sash cords, and I look at him, and his hair is like flicked. It's not like you see the Jesus long hair like that. It's flicked at the sides, and his face was misted out, like on a computer show when they don't want to show you the face.
Don't want to show it, yeah, as a block.
Yeah, and his face is misted out, but I can see he's got a beard, and so inside my head I'm thinking, wow, that don't look like Jesus, but it can't be because I need to meet my spirit guide. But this man is dressed like Jesus. So he puts his hand out, and his voice was so soft and gentle. And I'll try and do the voice just so you can get some idea. But he just put his hand out to take his hand, and he said, "Walk with me." Okay. And I'll take his hand. And then as I take to the top step, he looses my hand and turns around and grabs my hand again. And I can remember feeling the bone. I can remember feeling his hand, the flesh. I'm like, wow, okay, so... And I start, there's going to be times in this, Russ, where I'm going to get quite a bit emotional because you just feel that in awe, and so I'm walking with him, and he says, I'm really proud of you. And I said, thank you. And he said, you're doing really well. And something just told me to look back, and as we're walking, I look back, and there's my little brother who died when he was 14, my mom and my dad in a triangular formation. So my little brother's at the front, my mom and dad are behind him, and I'm looking at them, looking back, smiling, and they just smiled at me. And then who I thought was my spirit guide turns to me and says, it's time to go back. And I went, okay, thank you.
So this was this in meditative state?
In meditative state, yeah. So I'm there, I'm experiencing this real. I can see it, I can feel it. And so I come out of the meditation, and my tutor says, how did it go? And I explained to her what happened, and that all I could see, I couldn't see his face. And she said, well, maybe next time you'll see his face, maybe he just wanted to introduce himself, and next time you'll see his face. I'm like, okay. So, and this is where it changes. It's like 2 weeks later, I do my 3rd spiritual circle, and she says, we're going to do another meditation. I want you to, connect with spirit and see who comes forward. And I was like, okay. And I'll go into this state, meditative state, you know, the breathing, imagine the white light around me and so on. And the next thing, I'm going up this white light again. And then the light, I can feel myself come into this place, and the light clears. And I'm in a plateau, a field. And as I look to my left, there's a river, but it isn't water. It's coloured water. You know, like the colours of the chakra.
Oh yeah.
It's purple. It's like blues, greens, reds. Wow, this river is flowing, and I'm like, wow, okay. So I look across the field, and I can see a bush the far side of the field, and then there's a fence that comes across and goes behind an oak tree. So the pathway goes up and around this oak tree, and so I know I've got to start walking that way. So I start walking towards this oak tree, and as I come around the oak tree, it's this same man again. Oh, wow. And I thought, oh, it's me, spirit guide again. Okay, and he's got his one hand on the gate post, and as I get towards him again, he puts his hand out and he says, walk with me. And so I take his hand. You just do it. I just, you know, you feel like a little child, you know. And I took his hand, and then I walked into this second field, and everything changed. Everything changed, and we're in this knee-high grass, and he takes me so far in, and he says, he looses my hand, and he points to the ground with his palm facing up. And he says, sit down for me. And I just went, okay. And I sat down. And, God, this is where it gets a bit tough.
Yeah, sorry, go on.
No, so it's okay. I had to sort of control myself. And he says, you're doing really well. And I'm really proud of you. And I was just like a little kid. I was like, thank you. And now I realise I can see his face. So in my head I'm going, is that Jesus? Why would Jesus meet me? I'm nobody. That don't look like Jesus. I can remember calculating in my head, oh my God, this is Jesus. And then all of a sudden he points at me with his finger, you know, if I get my finger, he points at me like that, and he just says, remember, we are one, and I am you. And I was like, okay. In my head, I'm going, what the hell does that mean?
One consciousness, one love, as you say. We're all same stardust. You know?
Yeah. But like I say, at the time, I had no spiritual background. I didn't know any scriptures. I didn't know anything to do with sayings. I was just totally naive. And I was like, ooh, what's that mean? Okay, well, that's weird.
Look at that as obviously, as a message, you know, you needed that message.
Yeah.
Obviously, from what you said back then, you had limited knowledge. So is it a case of that's what you needed? You know what I mean? You needed something of spiritual importance.
Yeah.
That's what the energy manifested itself as for you to accept what you are and your worth.
What happened? What happened was I had to come out of that. I came out of the meditation. I knew it was time to come back, and I came out of the meditation. But then I had 3 physical validations in the physical world.
Yeah.
And basically, I was on duty in the ambulance service with my mate, and he was a born again Christian, so he knew. He went to church every week. He was really knowledgeable with his scriptures and that. And I said, can I run something past you? I said, but don't think I'm a nutcase or something. And he's like, yeah, go on. So I'll tell him the story, and then I'll get to the part where Jesus said to me, remember, we are one, and I am you. And he looked at me and he said, you know that's in the Bible, don't you? And I was like, no. Yeah. And he went, it's in the Bible. And I was like, and then that hit me like a brick. It was like, oh my God, did I really sit with him and chat with him, and So anyway, a couple of weeks passes, and then there's a well-known trance medium in Essex called Elaine Thorpe, and when spirits speak through her, she talks like a man. It's like she goes from being a soft-voiced person to a man, and she can't put that voice on. And she connects to spirit, and people ask her questions about the spirit world. And the second validation I had was I was watching this video, and somebody in the audience said, "Is there total harmony in the afterlife?" And this spirit said through her, "Yes, there is, my dear. Total harmony, and everybody is as one." And that made me sit up. I was like, "Oh wow, that's twice I've heard it now. How this is getting a bit weird, So then I had a third validation, and that just totally blew me away. And my friend, who's a good friend from the ambulance service, Mel, she said, "Do you want to catch up? Shall we watch a film?" And I said, "Yeah, okay. What shall we watch?" And we watched a film called Heaven is for Real. And it's about a little boy that was 4 years old. Something happens to him. I think he has peritonitis, and then he ends up going to have a near-death experience. Yeah. And he comes back and explains, to his dad, who was a pastor. He's telling him, "Dad, I met Jesus, and he has horses." And so I'm watching this film with intrigue, because I've experienced this in a meditation. And in the film, the pastor says to the boy, "We need to find a picture of Jesus," and he's showing this little boy pictures. Is that him? Is that him? And he comes across a picture on the internet of a painting done by a girl called Akian Kramarik, and she had a near-death experience and met Jesus, and she painted him when she was 8 years old. And that's where you're probably going to need to show that photo, Russ, of the Jesus facing the camera.
Okay, I'll cut that in.
Okay, and so I looked at that, and I just froze, and I was like, "Oh my God, that's who I saw."
Oh wow!
It's like, oh my gosh. Uh-huh. It's like, that's who I saw. His hair was flicked. It's all flicked, and you look, and it's like, oh my God. I'm trying to, and I said we finished the film, and I said to Mel, right, let's go on the internet and see if we can find another picture of something she's painted, Jesus maybe, side on, because she sat to me, side on, and we found the picture of him sitting side on. So that would be the second picture, if you can show that one.
Okay, yeah, I'll put that picture in there as well.
Yeah, and when
exactly the same in your meditative state. That is exactly
the person I saw. And I just felt this. I can't even explain it. When people meet Jesus in a near-death experience, they say they can't explain that in all. And it was just like, I just felt him go, bang, there you go, believe. Yeah. And I actually collapsed on the floor crying in a big heap. Mel is saying to me, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And I was like, "Oh my God, I've met this guy. This is Jesus." And so I think I cried on and off for a couple of days, because I was just in total awe of how he spoke to me, how he engaged with me, and the message he gave me, and then I had it validated afterwards, And I didn't know anything about that saying or scriptures. So anyway, I think it's coming up to Christmas, and at the time I lived in Braintree, which is a few miles away from here, and my partner at the time said, "Do you want to go to Christmas Mass?" And I said, "Yeah, sure, okay." So we went. It was Christmas Eve. Went to the Christmas Mass, sang a few hymns, and on the way out, there's two vicars standing side by side, and I shook the one's hand, and he said, "Thank you for coming. Did you enjoy it?" "Yes, thank you. Yeah, it's lovely." And then I shook the second one's hand, and I heard his voice again, Jesus' voice, and it telepathically said, "You need to tell him your story." And I was just like, it catches you out, and I was like, "What?" And I just heard, "You need to tell him your story." So I emailed this reverend, and I said, "Can I meet with you? I need to tell you something that's happened to me that's changed my life." And he said, "Yeah, of course, but can we do it after Christmas because I'm busy?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And we met in January of 2019, and I can remember it was just me and him in the church. I met him there. It was so peaceful and lovely. And he came in, and I know a lot of Christians don't like spiritual mediums because they think we work on the dark side, but we don't. And he took me into a little room, and I told him the story, and I just broke down crying again. Every time I get to the point where I meet Jesus, I just get this in awe. It's overwhelming. It's just overwhelming. You can't even explain it. And I just broke down crying again. And the vicar said to me, "I can clearly see how this has affected you." He said, "But it's good for me to hear because of my belief." And right there, I knew that was why I had to tell him the story, because he was doubting his own belief. And he said to me, he messaged me 2 or 3 times after, "Thank you for telling me your story. It's helped me a lot. Thank you." And I was like, "Oh, well, that's crazy." You hear him say, "You need to tell him your story," but there was a reason, and that was to help him. So of course then I'm having, I think about 2 or 3 months passes, and I'm having doubts again. And I was thinking, did that really happen? Your ego questions it.
I can understand you question it, because I'd question it myself. Now, in relation to the fact is, you needed something to hook onto in your life to help you heal yourself before you could go away and help others. Because obviously sitting here, I can tell you're somebody, you're somebody who can offer healing and love to a lot of
absolutely.
And, I can feel that from you here, just sitting I'm with you on the story.
Yeah.
But me being, as I explained at the start, who I am, was that energy that you was in your subconscious state, and the heavens, be it spiritually, they deciphered that message in your brain to say, this is what Les needs to gem up. Not necessarily the fact it was Jesus himself, but that image was portrayed strongly into your brain to say, this is what's going to get this man doing what he's put on this planet for.
Absolutely.
That is the way I'm interpreting
Absolutely.
it. Only being the prophet Jesus, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, you can beg to differ all you want, but that's the way I'm interpreting it. You was needed. Your mission in life is needed to help people.
I needed to be put on track to my true path.
Exactly.
And the thing was, like, say, 2 months passed, and I started doubting. Did that really happen? Okay. And then I can remember I went shopping, and I was outside supermarket, Lidl, I think it was. I was outside Lidl supermarket, and I'm putting my shopping in the back seat of the car.
Yeah.
And I can remember looking to my left. I don't know why I looked to my left, but I looked to my left, and there's this black guy standing there, and he's got a cap on, the glasses, and he's just standing there with his arms by his side, staring at me.
Oh, wow.
And I just, you think, what's he looking at? This is weird. and then all of a sudden, he marched across from the other side of the car park to the opposite side of my car, and he tapped the top of the roof 3 times, and he looked at me and he went, "Jesus loves you. Jesus loves you." And I was like, "Thank you." And I just knew.
Yeah.
I just knew he wasn't on this earth. It's like there's something not right about the situation. why would you come up to me, you've been staring at me, and then just go, Jesus loves you. Jesus loves you. Yeah. And he gave, I think he gave some money to the homeless guy. Didn't say anything to him. Gave some money to him, and he come past, tapped the top of my roof again. And as he walked away, I put the last bag in the car and looked, and he's gone. I mean, he hasn't had a chance to get in a car. He isn't sitting in any cars I can see. This guy has gone. He's disappeared. Yeah, so I just knew. I knew that was angelic. I just knew it. And thinking back now, his eyes wasn't brown. That was like a bluey grey. And I will never forget the event. It leaves an imprint.
Of course it does, yeah.
That you never ever forget. And
you swapped energies, essence, with an angelic.
But yeah.
Being. It's going to imprint itself into your mind and into your DNA. So
yeah. So of course the message was Jesus loves you, and I was like, okay. And then of course I think about 5 or 6 weeks later I needed to have a blood test because I was due for an operation, and I went for the blood test, and this lady, the phlebotomist, sits me down and she takes the blood from my arm and she says, okay, you're all done. Oh, thank you. And as I'm putting my coat on, she says, can I ask you a question? I was like, yeah, of course you can. And she said, do you believe in Jesus? I was like, yeah, of course I do, yeah. And she said, can I give you something? And she turned, grabbed a pen and gave me the pen. And that's where you'll need to show the third photo, Russ. Okay. And on the side of the pen, it's got, Jesus loves you. Okay. And that was like 5 or 6 weeks after seeing this first one. Yeah. And I was like, okay, I get it. I get it. There's only so many messages you can have, you know? I mean,
what's the timeline from that first meditative state to this third validation, this third visit?
All these validations. I would say it was probably over 9 months, 8, 9 months.
Okay. And can I ask, since then, after you've confirmed it psychologically, have you had anything else to back it? Because you now have faith. So, you know, you already have faith from these validations. So why would it just keeps topping up to say you're on the right path? Or
the one validation which I didn't say when I was telling you about sitting with Jesus in the grass is, you know, when I said everything changed in the second field, I looked at everything and there's shimmering light off all the leaves, little beams of light shimmering, and the flowers were shimmering. Everything had a shimmering light, and I can remember sitting there before he spoke to me, and I was like, "Wow, what is this? This must be heaven. What is this place?" It's like everything is just shimmering light, which now brings me to like the last validation I had that made me 100%, and that only happened 2 days ago.
Okay.
And that was, I was watching a near-death experience on TV of this man called Jim Woodford, who died, went to heaven. He was dead for 20 minutes, half hour, something like that. And in this experience, he's telling about when he goes up the white light and he gets to the end and he steps into the heavenly realm. Yeah. And as he looks down, he says, I can see when I moved my feet, there was beams of light coming off the grass. Yeah, and that was the final thing I needed to hear. That was the final, and I was like, I watched this video, I was like, oh my God, this is, oh wow.
Yeah.
I can't make that up, Russ. I can't make stuff up like that.
No, you can't. But what I've going back, I've researched NDEs as well, like yourself. But I put a lot of it down to chemical release in the brain, you know, a dying brain.
Yeah.
Not denying the fact that the next plane, the next dimension, we move to that. I'm not denying, I'm sure, positive that something goes on there from all my research and experiences. But I'm sure a chemical, you know, you hear about all these tribes, you know, you can get NDEs on magic mushrooms, man, and stuff like that. You can take a certain amount of mushrooms, it releases your subconscious brain, and you will travel, man. You travel the universe, you travel paradigms, dimensions, and that's why intelligent people, go and take hypnotic, hallucinogenic drugs, because they're chasing the dragon stuff, man. They used to do Sherlock Holmes, Conan Doyle wrote about it.
Yeah.
You can cross the stratosphere, the universe.
There's no limit.
Yeah. So an NDE to me is a dying brain releasing this chemical compound that creates this relaxed state for you to move on to the next realm. Yeah. What I can't explain is how the hell you come back in, that.
Yeah.
Sorry, carry on.
Yeah, that's okay. So, it's just like, so of course I had these validations again, because I was starting to doubt again, and then a few weeks pass, and we do another meditation in circle, and it's meet my spirit guide, and by this time I have met my proper spirit guide. And
or is he from the past? Because obviously
he's from the past.
Am I right? Spirit guides come and go. Spirit guides change. You can have more than one. You can have multiple spirit guides.
Yeah, you can sometimes have one, and I have one personally. I don't have multiple. But the guy, mine is a man. His name's Troy, and he's actually dressed like a wizard. And the only thing I can say is he looks a bit like Hagrid out of Harry Potter.
Oh yeah. Okay.
He's like very big. He's 7 foot tall. He's got dark hair and a black beard, and so powerful. And his voice is a bit like Brian Blessed. That very powerful voice. And yeah, very powerful. And I can remember we did a meditation, and our tutor was guiding us, and she said, you'll be in a corridor and you'll see a big door in front of you. And now I've gone deep into meditation and I can see this. And the next thing, my spirit guide comes and stands next to me, and he puts his hand on my left shoulder, and I hear my tutor say, your spirit guide will put his hand on your shoulder, and he's already done it. Do you know, it's like, you can't make that up. So anyway, he gives me a key to open this door. So we go from this corridor into, I believe it's the heavenly realm again. It was a pure white path, gravel path, about 10, 15 feet wide. And we walk through, and this gets quite emotional because he's walking with me, and I can see a mist, a fog in front of me, but I can see silhouettes of hundreds of people. But some are close, some are far away, and I can hear them going, I love you, we love you. And they're shouting from far to near, and they're going, we love you. And I'm just trying to absorb it, it's like, and you feel it, you felt the love. And my spirit guide tells me to look to the right, and there's a lake. And as I look to the lake, there's angels, all probably about 20 feet apart, standing around this little massive lake, just I don't know, 100-foot round, something, probably like that. And they're all standing around with their hands crossed down in front of them, and the wings and the heads are bowed. And the guy tells me to walk into the water, and I walk into the water, and I'm up to my chest basically, and that two angels walk into the water, and they stand, one at the front of me, one at the back of me, and I look up, Russ, and they're 9 feet tall. They're massive.
Really?
And
that resonates with me researching what I have with the Book of Enoch, because they sound like Nephilim to me. Giants that roam the earth.
Yeah, and they're looking down at me, and they put their wings around me like this, over the top of me, like an umbrella. Yeah. And the other one interlapses his wings over the top of the other one, and they're both looking down at me, and the one looks at me and he says, we're really proud of you. And I keep thinking, why do I keep getting this message? We're really proud of you. But he says it, and he says it's time to heal, and they give me some healing, and their eyes are closed. They look so peaceful, and I sort of, okay, that ends, and I come out the lake, and I hear my tutor say, I want you to meet your animal guide, because everybody has a spirit guide, but everybody has an animal guide.
Sorry to stop you there, Les, but that could have been, I don't know if you agree with me, your baptism, your higher realm baptism, if anything. It sounded like it, didn't it,
Yeah.
Drop out in the pun, that was the time you got your wings, you know what I mean? It's bad.
Yeah, but like I say, in a minute you'll hear where I'm getting to, because it just blows me away, and I can't make it out and accept it. I'm struggling with it, but I see this eagle, and I become the eagle. I take off, and I'm flying in this. I can see the ground from a distance, and I'm like, I can feel everything, and I'm like, wow, this is cool. And the next thing, I change momentarily into an angel. It's just like a flip. Yeah. And it was just for 2-3 seconds, and then I went back into this eagle again. And I was like, that was strange. And then I land back on this path. And then, our tutor tells us you will see a building in front of you. Walk towards the building. And I can see this building, and I'm looking at this building, and it's like it's got the Roman triangle bit at the top, and it's got 4 columns, and I'm looking on the top of each column, and there's a lion's head looking down at me, and I'm looking at it and thinking, wow, that's cool. These lion's heads are amazing on top of these columns, and I'm taking this building in, and then I look at the door, and there's a lady in like a Chinese dress with the collar that comes up here, like a Chinese collar. And she says, come inside. So I follow her inside, and I'm in a massive library. It's like, there's just like rows and rows and rows of books, levels and levels and levels. And I realise this is the Akashic Records. These are the records of people's souls, Yeah. And I get to this little tiny altar on a tabletop, and she says, wait there. And she walks off and gets this book, and it's quite a thick book, and it's quite big, so I'd say about 18 inches by 10, 15 inches. And she puts this book on this little altar thing, and I look at the front, and the cover is, do you know some angels wear the breastplate? Yeah. The book cover is a breastplate, but it's flat, and I can see 2 brass studs here, the shape of the breast and that, and I look, and my tutor, because you can hear her talking, she said, if you look at the top of the book, you will see your true spiritual name. And I look at the top of the book, and it says Ariel. And I was like, Ariel, I don't even know what that means. You've locked up, Russ. Are you still there?
Okay, so on air, talking to Les, hitting on some stuff. We've had some few weird things going on during the show. We've had noises, going on, but we've ignored them. But at the moment, just Les was explaining about his spiritual name, his true spiritual name. On this book, or this library he went to in deep meditative state, he mentioned this true spiritual name was Ariel, and boom, everything went off here. Broadband, router, electricity, some of the bits and dabs, the equipment that's around the house, all went off. It just took me 5-10 minutes to put it back. So, I don't know if he's angelic or not, but it was pretty weird because I'll never have any issues.
We will come to that in a minute.
Welcome to Leslie's world.
Hello again.
I love it because being a paranormal investigator, anything like that happens, it makes me think, try and debunk, question it. Might have been just a spike in the system, but here's hoping that it was something spiritual. So fingers crossed. So anyway, sorry, Les. Back to the library.
So yeah, I look at she places the book on this little mini altar, and it's got the breastplate on, and then at the top of she says, look what the name is at the top of the book, and that is your true spiritual name, and it's got Ariel, Ariel, and I didn't know. I don't know.
Archangel Ariel does it. That's in the Archangels, isn't it? I'm sure it is.
But the thing is, mate, at the time I didn't even know. I just thought Ariel. Oh, that's a nice name. I'll have that for a spiritual name. Cool. Okay. So she takes the book away, and I come out of that meditative state, and I decided to go online. I thought, I wonder who Ariel is. What is she? Who is she? So I just type in Google Ariel, and nothing came up. And I'm like, I thought, okay, let's try Archangel Ariel.
Yeah.
Maybe. And I type it in, and then it's like, bang, it's like all this information. And now I'm already thinking, no, this is now getting silly. It's like, I can't be an angel. But it just makes, I'm being shown this. So, of course, I'm then looking up at this description, and it's got Ariel, and in brackets, Archangel Ariel, and in brackets it's got Kabbalistic. Yeah. Now, Kabbalistic, I create meditation music as a sideline, and I named my music title, the Kabbalistic music.
Yeah.
And I did that 2 years previously.
Yeah.
So I've looked at this and gone, what?
Yeah.
Is this what? Okay. So I've come offline, and I've spent a good 2 or 3 weeks in a confused state, really, Russ, because I've had all this going on.
Yeah.
I'm trying to work it all out and understand why me. Why have I been chosen to sit with him and have these messages, and the angel experiences, Jesus loves you, and so on. And I'm trying to calculate it all. I'm thinking, I can't be an angel. This is just too much to take in. I can't. My physical body, mind, it's too much. Yeah. So I know a lady in the spiritual circles called Alison, and she's an angel specialist.
Yeah.
So I contact her, and I said, look, can I run something by you? I'm trying to work this out. I can't accept what it's saying, but I need some help from you, see if you can throw some light on it. And she's a medium. She connects with angels and stuff. And while I'm talking, she suddenly says, Les, can you stop? And she said, my team, spiritual team, she said, my team are telling me you are an ascended master.
Okay.
And she said, you didn't need to come back here. She said, your life's of incarnations had been complete. She said, but you decided to come back to help others. Wow. And she said, they are really proud of you. What did I?
Yeah, 3 times you mentioned.
Yeah, and I was, Russ, it just blows you away, because this is somebody else telling me this, And she said, they are really proud of you. You didn't need to come back. And I'm like, oh, this is too much. I'm going into overload. And I'm like, wow, okay. So I've got to sit, figure this all out, But it's become so then a few months pass, and I go into hospital because I've had hip surgery.
Yeah. And
then I come out and I get this massive infection.
How long ago was this?
Last year.
Oh, so only last year.
Yeah, last year, June. And
COVID, was it still COVID time?
No, mate, what it was, they did the operation, but they put the infection into the wound.
Okay.
So it was a massive infection, and I was 15 weeks ill, sepsis, and I ended up going into Basildon Hospital for 5 weeks. Now, this is where it gets weird again, because I've gone on to 4 different wards.
Yeah.
And on the first ward, there's this guy in front of me who's pacing up and down, very anxious. And I just start talking to him. and he says, I've tried to kill myself 3 times. He tried to burn himself, hang himself, and take tablets. Oh, no, sorry, drowned himself. So he tried to burn himself, hang himself, and drown himself. And I befriended him for 5 days, and I was talking to him, and I was telling him about, look, you've got a wife and a child. Use them as your steps to get well. And I'm coaxing him through this because he still wants to kill himself. And you know what? At the end of the 5 days, they transferred him to a mental health unit to obviously help him get better. Yeah. But he walked over to me, and yet his hand was burnt, but he got cream on them. And he shook my hand, and he said, "Can I thank you for what you've done? Because I would have killed myself by now." He said, "Thank you for helping me through these few days." And I've got to be honest, Jules, I choked up because it was powerful. You know, it's like, wow, okay, I've saved this guy.
Going back to the start of the conversation, you know, the whole point in me getting you on is because obviously you have got that mindset, that skill, and people are going to feed off it. So putting this out there, your story, help somebody, and that is more powerful than anything that we're going to get in our mindset. So just,
you know what, Russ, if one person watches this, if one person watches it and it lifts them and helps them, job done.
That's exactly.
Job done. If I help multiple hundreds of people, amazing. You know, I'm like, thank you, Jesus, for giving me this gift. Thank you for letting me work for you, you know. And so, yeah, this guy, I'll then move on to another ward because they can't really get me onto the ward I should be on.
Yeah.
And I'll then help this nurse who's depressed. She's depressed, not very happy at home. And I'm advising her and saying, look, you know, just trust her. And I'm giving her this stuff. And at the end, she thanks me, you know, thank you for listening to me. Thank you for helping me. Okay. I'll then go on a third ward. And the same again, a nurse, she's got relationship problems. And she shows me a picture, and I'm going into this man's persona as a medium, and he's not a good man. He's a bad one. You know, he's like, oh, I'm going to tell you lies. I'm going to cheat on you. I'm going to do all this and that. And everything I relayed to her, she said, he's already done it. She said, that's exactly how he is. And I said, he's not going to change his spots. He's not going to change. And I helped her to make that decision to break away from this bad person. It's her choice. It's her free will. It's her choice. All I did was give her the facts of what I felt, you know. So, okay, I'll do that. And then I go on to the fourth ward. And they wheel this new patient in. And he's a well-known medium around Essex, I found out. His name's John Schaefer. And he gets wheeled opposite, and I know instantly we've got to meet for a reason. I just know. And I think you know, he came in and he was like telling people, you know, I'm a medium, and I was like, oh, I'll do that, John. You know, I'm a medium, and we sort of really didn't speak for about 2 or 3 days. You know, but all I know is it was 3 o'clock in the morning. And I watched a spirit walk in. I knew it was his dad. And this spirit walked into the ward. You know when they dim all the lights because it's night time? Yeah. And this spirit walks in. He stands by his bed. And he's looking at him. And then he looks at me and just transfers this information. And I can see him with a backhander. He's hitting him with a backhander. He's saying he didn't show him love. He said, I love him. Can you tell him I love him? But I didn't know how to show it. And he said out of, you know, all his siblings, he had it the worst. And I said, like his show. And I thought, right, okay, I'll give him this message in the morning. So, of course, I wake up and I say to this John, you know, can I come and sit with you? I need to tell you a message. And I told him, and I said, you know, your dad's saying he did love you, just didn't know how to show it. And at the end of it, he listened and he said, you're the second medium to tell me in 3 weeks that. He said, and you're spot on. He's like, absolute spot. He said, I had it the worst. He said, and My granddad used to hit him with a backhander, and he brought it down a generation and was hitting us with his back of his hand. And the thing was, when Spirit showed me, it was like they was going to hit me in the face. They were showing, and I had to, at one time I actually flinched because I thought they was going, they're going to hit me. And so anyway, I'm sitting there, and they're trying to get rid of this infection. So I've now been in hospital 5 weeks. They can't identify the infection, so they can't really put me on an antibiotic that's going to fight that particular infection, bacteria. And I can remember I felt ill, and it was I remember it was a Tuesday, and I'm sitting on the bed. It's 2:00 in the afternoon, and I'm just sitting there minding my own business, thinking, am I going to actually get out of here alive? Am I going to survive this? And I said occasionally I'll hear Jesus' voice in my head, and I heard that it catches you out, Bruce. You don't expect it. Yeah. And I just heard the voice. He said, "It's time to heal." Yeah. And I was like, "What?" I was like, it just rocks you to the core. It's like, wow, it's time to heal. Okay. Now, this is what I didn't know. The next day, the doctors come in and they said, Mr. Cuthbert, and this is the beauty of this, mate. It's all on record. It's all on hospital record. So I love this bit, because they said, Mr. Cuthbert, we need to take you off the antibiotics. That's just keeping you okay. And they said, we need you to get worse so we can identify the bacteria, take a sample, and then we know exactly how to treat it. And I've been an ex-ambulance person myself. I was like, that's a bit risky, isn't it, Doc? And he's like, I've got sepsis. And he said, I know. He said, but we need to do this. And I was like, okay. They took me off the drip. They took the cannula out. And I thought, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to do some white light healing. Yeah. So I started visualising white light coming through me, repairing every cell in my body, asked Jesus to come forward, send his healing through me. And I did that was for 2 days. The third day, the doctor come and stood by the bed, and he's like this, scratching his head. And he said, we don't understand this, Mr. Cuthbert, you're getting better. Wow. Okay. And I was like, what? And he said, your infection markers are coming down. We don't understand. It should be getting worse. And I was like, right, okay. And I told the sister in the ward, her name was Amy, and she said, her exact words was, I would fucking love it if you heal yourself, and this works, and they can't heal you. Yeah. And mate, that's exactly what happened. Over the end of the week, the doctors came up and they said, your infection markers are now 12. You can go home.
That was just through pure light.
And also, he said to me, it's time to heal.
Angels or Jesus, as you
Jesus, yeah. It's time to heal, And then all of a sudden I get better in hospital, where I've been on a drip for 5 weeks because they can't get me better. My infection, my CRP levels, which is the infection markers, was 73. Then they were 67. Then they went back up to 70 again. That was sky high. And then all of a sudden, so I spent 15 weeks ill altogether, and then out the blue I started getting better. And it's like, wow. Just wow. It's just, and there's been other little times where I've connected with Jesus at home. I had 2 weeks ago, I had another hip surgery because I've had both of them done now. And I sat here and I thought, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to connect to Jesus. I'm going to ask him to be with me, help me through the operation. So I sit here with my palms up and I call the white light in and I say to Jesus, please help me through this. I'm talking to him and I hear him say, I hear that voice again, that soft, beautiful voice. And I hear him say, my son, I love you. And it's just clear in my mind, like he's actually talking it to me. My son, I love you. And I was like, wow, And then I'm sort of at the end of my story now, but it's like when you reflect back to that lady who was the angel specialist and she said, you're an ascended master. it all makes sense about the connection I have to him.
Get my head around all these, especially talented spiritualist mediums saying this, and then all the validation to something that's euphorically happened to you. But I just can't get my head with this interpretation of it being Jesus, if you know what I mean. You've experienced. I'm not doubting that for a minute, but I can't get my head based on my own own theology and my own research how it could be. Is it? I still think it could be the Creator manifested himself as his own son.
I agree with that.
I'm not denying, Leslie, it wasn't spiritual at all.
No.
But I just can't get my head around with that. You do know how many prophets there has been since the dawn of man. There's been hundreds of them, prophets, all with the same mission, etc. What Jesus did. They all did it, and I just can't get my head. The Egyptians had prophets.
I do agree with you there, Russ.
Is that your psyche, your icon? That's what's transfigured into your.
Yeah, I agree. I honestly think Jesus and God is one. I think it's they.
Okay.
You're saying it's God puts himself as Jesus.
God, but you are son of God. We're son of God. Everybody is son, daughter of God. Yeah. Star seeds, etc. But that's a message. I believe that God sent that icon because it resonates in your psyche, and it was easier for you to accept that message and to transfigure and evolve.
I actually think he exists. I do, Russ. I think he's because so many people report it as well, and they've described exactly the same person. Not just that film I watched with the little boy. I've watched other near-death experiences where they've been dead and brain dead, flatlined for 30 minutes, and they've described exactly the same person I saw to the.
So what makes you think it was Jesus in relation? I.e., you saw the photographs.
You just know. Okay. You just know. There's no doubt in your head. You look at it and you go, "Oh my God, that's Jesus." Why would you make me? It's just.
I'm sorry for sounding. I know. I'm totally in awe of your story, but I just cannot get.
Yeah.
With my knowledge about all the prophets, all the history, and religion as it is, and it's lovely to have a faith. I 100% accept a Creator, but this one, Jesus, who is the head of Christianity, Catholicism, just appeared in this. Why couldn't he have been God himself unless it was God's form? That's what I'm trying to get my head around. I'm not debunking. I'm totally believe what was insane. I'm trying to get my head.
I know. I understand.
The point was him and not Archangel Michael, Archangel Gabriel, or one other of the ascended masters.
I mean, sometimes people have reported being met by an angel, and then they meet Jesus after that. I think, it's like, okay, if I'm this ascended master, is that why I met him first? Is it why I have this close bond with him where I can actually hear him tell me things? The vicar telling your story.
Yeah.
And I can remember those words, and I can remember everything that's happened as clear as, like when you have a dream and you think to yourself, over time you forget that dream. You can't even remember a dream. Yeah. These I can remember as clear as the day that happened. Okay. And it's like, it happened, 100%. And that's why I've got to the point where I need to tell this story because I'm going to be ridiculed by some people. There's going to be some people that go, "Oh my God, that's amazing."
I get ridiculed in what I do every day, sticks and non-believers and that. But these are all the sheeple who believe what's on the telly and portray them in the media.
Yeah,
and they won't go out and investigate, research. The years of research I've done and the experiences you've had, you can't mock it now. Each to their own beliefs. Free will to all men. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Don't mock what you don't know. That's the motto of it all.
And the thing is now, even science is catching up. They're even saying that we are energy.
They are, mate. They are. As I always say, Einstein believed in ghosts, and he's the most intelligent man that ever walked this planet. And he believed that there was ghosts and afterlife because we are energy, and energy just transfigures into another materialistic state when we pass on. Now, is that into another paradigm, another dimension? Yeah. Does it ascend? I don't know. We'll never know. But
there's a guy
to prove it.
There's a guy called Dr. Bruce Lipton on YouTube, and he's a top professor in the US, biology and all that. And he stood up in front of, these TED Talks where they stand up in front of an audience. And he stood up in front of this audience and he said, we took an atom and we spread the atom into protons, electrons, neutrons. He said that we then took each one of those to split those and see what was inside those. He said, and there was nothing. He said, so therefore we are energy.
Yeah, we are.
He said, we are. It's like, wow, you've got scientists there saying we are energy. So how can this not be real? How can this not be?
Exactly. Yeah, no, I agree. And
amazing.
Yeah, it's this energy, how come it ends up into a biological computer? Because that's what we are. We're biological.
It's just a vessel.
We're just a vessel, as you say, and we've got our brain as our core processing unit.
Yeah.
We've got our LCD monitors in our eyes.
Yeah.
We are, I believe, biological computers. As you say, the vessel for the soul to learn, to
learn. It's a school.
Ascension, or to learn the mistakes that we've made.
Absolutely.
Over and over and over until you said you ascend to the next level, the next plane, the next set of rules, and it keeps on going and going. So that is a valid possible.
Yeah. Oh, it's it's been an amazing journey, and just for your reference, before this, like I said, my mum believed in Jesus, but she never went to church. When my little brother died when he was 14, my mum lost total faith. I lost.
You then? How old was you?
I was 23, I think, 23, 22. And I lost total faith as well. I thought, and I was crying saying, if you exist, why have you took my brother? Jesus, if you're real.
At the beginning of the show, didn't I? I said exactly the same thing. If there was a God, Jesus, why do they take him so young, so spiritually clean? Why are they doing it when there's people around it with evil as sin? So what is your interpretation of why you took him then, based on your new knowledge?
My new knowledge now, I know everything happens in divine timing.
Yeah.
And it was my brother's time. He'd spent his time schooling. I do believe he only had to be here a short time and then move on, because he'd come to the completion of his lessons. That was it. His job was done in helping others here, and also people learning from him and his suffering, because he had a rare blood disease which killed him in the end. And I just know it was divine. Everything is divine timing, Russ.
So how about children then? I'm sorry to throw this in, but how about you? I'm only, because of my own psyche and my own system, it's not an attack on you. Why does he take 2 to 3 day old kids, 2 to 3 week old kids?
I think it's wrong to label it as he takes.
Sorry, okay.
We all have a contract. Before we come to Earth, we have a contract.
You sign a contract for 2-3 days.
You agree with who's going to come into your life and be in your life for so long. Some stay, some disappear, and some
are meant to be as well, aren't
they? Yeah, but this applies to little babies. It was not their divine time to stay. There's nobody's done any wrong. Nobody's took them away. It's divine time. We are all under that clock of divine timing.
I write a contract for a kid to live 2 days. Oh, that's nonsensical, isn't it? You know what I mean?
But some of them is
life.
Yeah, some of them is down to free will as well, because of the parents. So you might have a child because at the moment of conception, the soul is put into the child, right? But if that parent decides to have an abortion, for instance, or just something happens and it doesn't grow and then it's lost, then it's all, the souls still go back to heaven and they still have to grow as if they were on the earth,
So how do you explain diseases then, like cancer? Why is that around? Do you think that he wouldn't do that to people if he loved them? You know, like, why is he giving the cancer? Is that?
I don't think.
No. I'm sorry to throw these level of questions at you, mate.
No, you know, I can only tell you what I believe and what I sense and feel. And just like, you know, so again, it's like, why would Jesus cause cancer? It's like, I don't believe that. I believe cancer is man managed.
I was hoping you was going to say that, because I believe that they've got a cure and they just do not want to let it go.
Absolutely.
Ka-ching, ka-ching, give me the money. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, and it's like, I've gone into aspartame, the sweetener.
Yeah.
And it's like I've gone into that big time, and it's like that's carcinogenic, which is cancer causing.
Yeah.
But it's now put in everything,
Yeah, you're right.
And you think to yourself, okay, so I can remember going online, and I went onto a military site where they released the information, the freedom of information.
Yeah.
And I can remember, Russ, I actually read the document, and it was a document that was instructing them to release aspartame into the water system in a particular town.
Yeah.
To kill everybody in the water, drinking water.
And the atmosphere as well. That the chemtrails. Chemtrails have done for decades now, and the mercury. It's all about polluting the food chain, the water chain, and it's to do with keeping us down, keeping our vibrations low, keeping us ill. Because it's
greed,
money and
greed. It's all about greed and money, and unfortunately, it's suffering at the hands of the people that are higher up.
Yeah.
And
those are the true Satanists, should I say? Those are the true dark energies that are on this planet.
Well, we all have a life review, and all those people will face a life review, and it's not a judgment, but they'll be made to feel what they did, and so on. It's just, but like I say, you can't pin something like that on Jesus, because some things are man-made, and a lot of things are man-made.
That explains it. I accept that explanation. So you've got the divine, you've got the light. It means well for us, but then there's the dark forces that are roaming, and they're in physical, and that's what's causing all this negativity, and polluting the name and the energy of the light side. So I can accept that wholly. So
absolutely. But I'm sorry, I've suddenly got tickled throat. But yeah, it's been a powerful, and like I said before this, I wasn't a massive believer in Jesus. I'd sort of cancelled him out of my life, and to have these experiences, and then the validations, Russ, the physical validations and the experiences, and getting better without any treatment. And it's just like, I've got nothing else to do but to believe.
So, okay, so somebody, what are you going to do next then if you are Archangel Ariel, if you are a healer, if you are given this message,
Ascending Master,
Ascending Masters, what are you going to do now then, Les, to help everybody? How are you going to do it? So
there's two ways. I know I need to get this message, what I'm doing right now, out there. So I'm hoping to do talks at centres and stuff like that, and just telling them my story. And like I said, if I can get 2 or 3 people to believe, amazing. The other thing I need to do, I was going to go the platform route. I did a couple of platforms. I did card reads at centres, but it didn't feel my path. And it's just come to light now. I did a couple of clearances, house clearances. I've dealt with a couple of really bad negative energies, and it just feels like this is the right path for me. This is
spirit rescue.
Spirit rescue, dark energy. It's helping people. Spirit. Yourself, spirit can break families up.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And it's like, I want to go in and get rid of these energies. I have the backing behind me. I have that white light. I have Jesus behind me. I have archangels behind me. If I'm this ascended master, I've got my own energy
Can you send a few my way, Les, please?
Absolutely, yeah. But it's just a realization of my journey, and so I need to get the word out there, and also now I'm stepping into dealing with these energies that should not be on this earth plane.
Okay.
And also, if there's good energies that are trapped, I want them to cross home. I want them to go home and be home.
Let's face it, there are some spirits that want to reside. There's some spirits that are helpful for the home environment. And let's face it, we all live with spirits here anyway. It's just how you choose to interpret them. And if it's choose, and it's your choice if you want to have them in your home and let the energy evolve in your home. We all live with them because they're everywhere. There's nothing we can do about it, but we do need people like you there to help bring that family environment back, move over the darker entities, and create that peaceful abode that every loving family deserves. So
So I know I've met a lot of mediums in Essex now doing what I do, and I asked around, and I couldn't find anyone that deals with this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's why I know it's my path. I am the one that needs to deal with this stuff.
Yeah.
And it will be dealt with, Yeah,
but how do you, obviously, dealing with spirit like that, moving energies on, moving darker, especially the darker side, I know for a fact that can have an effect on your own mental health. So, obviously you've got the backing to do that. So, is that something that you're prepared to take on? Because it can affect your own mental
health. What, Russ? This feels really strange, because I spoke to a couple of mediums and they've said, I wouldn't mess with that. It's like, I wouldn't bother. And it's like,
what's the point in having the gifts then?
But the thing is, I feel no, I'm not scared. I don't feel hesitation. All I know is I just feel like, let's get in there, let's get rid of it. Done. That's my job.
That is exactly what you've got to do. It's pure mindset. You know what I do. Some of the things that I've encountered.
Yeah.
And that is exactly it. It's that pure.
Yeah.
It's that pure mindset, that pure light, that pure confidence in that. Once you let that little second of negativity into your
game over.
It's game over. Exactly.
Game over.
You can tell that you can tell just from your words there that
I am not.
You're going to do good.
Yeah, I'm not scared of any energy. If it's good, I'll cross it over peacefully. If it's bad, it's going to go over forcefully, and it's going to get kicking and screaming. And I've done that already.
So I've had many conversations with people, and they say, "Well, okay, I bet if you get the Zozo come across on the board," and I'm saying, why give a brand name to a dark energy? There's good, there's bad.
Yeah.
In physical, there's going to be good and there's going to be bad in the afterlife. So don't look at it. Why brand the bad energy?
The thing is, Russ, I've done Ouija boards. I don't do them now because that's not me. I don't like them. I do feel I can let stuff in, but the thing is,
as soon as you decide to make contact in your mindset, it's just like using a Ouija board, because you're giving it the
power,
the welcome, and the power to come to you. So
you need, if you do,
or be it spirit box, be it voice recorder, you're giving the intention to
exactly.
So it doesn't matter what you use, what media you use, but
you have to set
a person like you there to say, is it good or is it bad? Now, if you're dealing with your granddad or an uncle,
it's okay.
But you need a talented medium like yourself, or another to say, well, back away, that ain't who you think it is.
But also at the start of it, you will set your intention anyway.
Yeah.
You'll say right at the very start, only allow good through. Yeah. Do not allow negative energies, demonic spirits, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Only allow good through. Set the intention and believe that intention, and you've got some control.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree there. Totally agree with that. Yeah. And you need a level of grounding as well, of course.
Yeah.
Pure white light protection as well. But
Absolutely.
I have people argue the toss with me. Why get yourself grounded and white light protected when you're going on a
golf? Have to.
Surely it's going to block the communications on there. Going it's stopping anything negative attaching to you. exactly that's it.
That's what it's doing.
I try and explain that to what some people don't want to know.
Yeah. And just for anybody out there that does know how to protect themselves, you know, I always say to Archangel Michael, put a mirror on the outside of that protection to reflect any negative energy, spells and spirits. You know, anything that comes to you, let it just bounce back to where it came.
So how can people help themselves then? I notice there's a lot of meditative guided meditations on YouTube, as Archangel Michael mantras, you can say, you know, what do you recommend people to do to be able to just bring them closer to a spiritual realm? What advice can you give them?
Yeah, let's say they just need to pick the right one. You know, it counts to let yourself fully go. If you're going to do meditation, believe in it, you know, and relax. To the breathing, just let yourself go, and if you stop fighting against it, you will then see. I've got other friends that experience meditation like me, and you just have to, like we said right at the start of this, you have to believe, you have to accept, you know, this stuff is here. You know, it's like I think about people that have had near-death experiences, and they come back and say, I'm now a medium. I now. But why can't it be the other way around? I'm a medium, but I've been to the spirit world.
Of course, yeah.
You know, I've done it the other way around. I've got the gift. I've got this amazing connection, but I can do it the other way around without dying. That's just incredible.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it's like, wow. Wow, yeah.
All right, so been an interesting and a great story there.
Yeah.
You know, it's really, you know, opened my mind to other areas for sure. And, you know, I'm not denying, there's a few questions in relation to the chosen icon, Jesus, and that's your belief, not my belief, but the whole essence of the story and the validation, I can hardly, you know, I'm definitely well impressed with what's gone on. And, you know, I really want you to pursue now and help.
Absolutely.
People. That's what it's all about, helping people.
Absolutely.
How can people approach you and get hold of you if they want some guidance?
Yeah, if they go on Facebook and type in Les Cuthbert Spiritual Medium, they will come onto my Facebook page and they can message me through there.
Okay, so what type of things can you offer? Can you offer readings? Can you offer readings? Can you offer spiritual guidance, for example? Can they tap into Archangel Ariel and your higher ascended masters? Can they for healing themselves, you know?
You know, if they want to message me and say, look, can you send me healing? I'll send healing, or even tell them just how to do it themselves, you know, just be in the white light and heal themselves. Or even if they do want a card read or a read, I will do those. But as you've said, it's like I'm sort of defending my path, but I'm not ruling it out. So I will still do those, but it's just... I'll just multiple things. People want to connect. If people want to ask me more about my experience, I'm happy to answer questions.
Yeah, I'm interested in the ascended angel, the Archangel Ariel side, because it's not very often I get to speak to an ascended master like yourself.
It's weird. It's weird. I still can't take it in.
I'd just love to be in your shoes, just the feeling, you know, what you're going to get from it, because up here it's like an essence of just pure love, light. Not power, but you know what I mean. I bet it just feels.
It feels amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah.
I mean, it feels more amazing when I walk into, like I say, could have got rid of a couple of dark energies.
Yeah.
And I know I walk into those places, and this dark energy is crapping its pants.
Yeah.
And that is an amazing feeling for me to think, wow, it's quaking in its boots, and it knows I'm coming. And I'm going to get rid of it.
I feel really humble just talking to you. Know, actually, I can't prove that you're an archangel. You know what I mean? But I do feel an energy of humble.
It's the
talking to you, Les, you know.
You know, it's the validations. You know, like that angel woman when she said they're really proud of you, but it echoed what I was told in the meditations. Yeah. And the angels in the lake, we're really proud of you. And then you get somebody physical world go, they're really proud of you. You didn't need to come back. And you go, I can't take this in. On a physical plane, I can't.
Yeah.
I can't take this in, but I've got to believe because of the validations I've had.
Yeah, it's strange, isn't it? I know there's definitely something there. You know, I don't know why I'm not infinite wisdom, but I definitely can feel. I just wholly want people to connect with you.
Absolutely.
Just to feel your energy and your aura, Les. So let's help people check out Les Cuthbert, Spiritualist Medium on Facebook. Get him connected. Look at his page. Make contact if you're in need of help or spiritual enlightenment. Contact him, because there's definitely something going on strange here.
Thanks, Liz. And can I just say as well, keep up the good work you're doing, and you're a good soul. I can sense that from here. You're a good soul. Keep up the good work, mate.
Oh, thank you, mate. I really appreciate it. I hope to keep in touch, keep it on in the future, man. Perhaps come back on again,
Yeah, sure.
Send for you. So.
Yeah, we'll do something again.
God bless, man.
And you, peace, love, and light to you.
Thank you, and to you, mate.